All right, what's going on? So I'm still sitting at home being lazy. Man, I've been at home for almost 3 weeks. It's been 2.5 weeks, but I have a load to leave the house on. Um, Let me figure out how to show you the load information here. I should probably have done this before I started the video, but let me create a new scene here. Let's do OneNote. Tell you what, let me flip something around here, and I'll do it a different way. I'll just show my entire display one. There we go. That works. OneNote uses your processor and your graphics card for displaying different things, like the images. I think it uses the graphics, and then the rest of it uses processor. So it uh, you know capture programs don't work well with OneNote. But this is the load. I take screenshots of the loads because once you accept the load and they send it over to you in the driver hub with the trip and all that stuff, the order information, there's a lot of stuff lost. You don't get all this stuff right here disappears once the load gets taken off of the load board. You can't look at this information anymore. And usually the pickup and delivery times and other stuff like that is wrong on what is sent to you. So I always take screenshots of it and throw it into OneNote. So this is the load. It's Springfield, Missouri to Phoenix, Arizona. Almost 1,300 miles. Now that's loaded miles. I've got some massive deadheads on this load. $3,512, and then breakthrough fuel on the fuel surcharge. What that means is I have no idea what the fuel surcharge is. Breakthrough fuel is a way for companies to save money on fuel surcharge. It's basically they're going to pay as little as possible on fuel surcharge, and they're going to use all kinds of stupid crap to justify how little they're paying for fuel surcharge. I hate breakthrough fuel. So I calculate breakthrough fuel at 10 cents per mile. Normal fuel surcharge is about 20 cents per mile. So breakthrough fuel averages about half normal fuel surcharge. And I've seen it as low as 4 cents per mile fuel surcharge. It's all right. Let's stop ranting and raving about breakthrough fuel. Um, but Blue Line. It's picking up at French's, a McCormick company. So it's food ingredients, and it's going to Blue Line, which is Little Caesars. It's going to a Little Caesars distribution center in Phoenix, and it is 19,000 pounds. I've picked up a load out of this place before, and they're really awesome. They're easy to do business with. They're really nice. Last time I was there, they gave me a little brown bag with a bottled water and a thing of hot sauce, and it had like a granola bar and a bag of chips or something. I forget what all it had in it, but they gave me a little goodie bag. I think that was really awesome that they did that. I've still got the hot sauce. I've never opened it. Um, but yeah, that's the load. Let's go back over to the browser. Actually, let me show you the breakdown on the load in the spreadsheet. Let's go to the spreadsheet. And this is the load right here, Springfield, Missouri to Phoenix. So of the $3,512, my cut, 65% of that is $2,282.80. And factoring in at 10 cents per mile in fuel surcharge, that's $127.90 fuel surcharge, which comes to a grand total of what I make on the load of $2,410.70. And that comes out to $1.88 per mile based on the loaded miles of what I make on the load. That's not very good. I usually make way more than that. Like the last week that I was out on the road, I averaged $3.50 per mile on my loaded miles. So this is pretty damn low in comparison to what I normally run at. Let's go back over to the browser. Oh. Now, the reason I grabbed this load, even though it's not a very good load. I mean, it's not a bad load, but it's not a very good load. But the reason I grabbed it is because I just don't feel like running in the east or the northeast. I feel like going into the southwest. So I'm hoping to grab a load out of... these are all the loads, by the way, that are going into the southwest LA market. This should be the LA market, maybe even, it's also Las Vegas and Phoenix. Kingman, Arizona is central enough that this search is picking up LA, Phoenix, and Vegas. And these are all the loads going into there. So there's quite a few loads. Spring Hill, Kansas, which is basically southwest Kansas City, is where most of the loads going into that area are coming from. So what I'm going to try to do is, since I want to run in the southwest, I'm burnt out on the northeast and the east. I'm burnt out on it. Since I want to run in the southwest, Kansas City is the place where I can most easily get a load going into the LA market. So I'm going to try to get loads coming out of the LA market, going into Kansas City, and then, just basically go Kansas City to LA, Kansas City to LA. And if I have to, then I'll take a load to wherever in the hell I have to go from LA. Let's say I get a load going to New Orleans. Well, out of New Orleans, I'll try to get a load, get me over to Kansas City so I can get another load going back over to LA. And for the remainder of my time at USA Truck, that is what I'm planning on doing. Right here's a load coming out of the LA market, going to Kansas City, Missouri, paying $7,000. That's a pretty damn good load. Let's throw that into the spreadsheet. I don't know if I've already got it in the spreadsheet. It does not look like I've already got it in the spreadsheet. Let's throw it in there and look at the numbers on it. So it is $4,400 on the line haul, and then fuel surcharge is almost nothing. So it comes up to a total of $4,600 that I make on that one load. $4,600, and what I make on the load is $2.92 a mile. Load picks up on the 4th, delivers on the 7th. So it's a 3-day load. Half of a week. So if I can get these loads where half my week is a really good load coming out of LA, and then the other half of the week is a mediocre load going back into LA, they'll average out to where I'm actually making some pretty damn good money, and I'm just able to run into the southwest. So this is a 3-day load, and this is a 4-day load. If I were able to run these two loads back to back, what would that be? That would be 2,400 plus 4,600. So that would be 60. That'd be 66. That'd be right at $7,000. Almost exactly $7,000 for a week. Gross to the truck. And I would be running right at 3,000 miles on the week, maybe a little over 3,000 miles. If I could do that for the remainder of my time at USA Truck, I would love that. That would be awesome. $7,000 a week average. But it's unlikely that I'm going to have no downtime in between loads, because the loads over in the LA market are so sporadic. And then the loads going to LA out of Kansas City are really sporadic. So I'm probably going to have a lot of time off. And then a load will pop up, and then I'll drive over there, and then I'll take 3 or 4 days off, and I'll grab a load, and I'll head back over there. So, um, looking at my pay over like a weekly average, it's my pay is probably not going to be that good doing this because I'm not going to be able to just keep rolling. But I'm going to have a lot of time off. I'm going to be just hanging out in the truck, playing video games and stuff. And I got my new internet, which I'll talk about in a minute. I think I've already talked about that in the last video. But I got a new fuel card. I got new internet. All kinds of stuff going on. Let's go back to the browser. And I'll talk about why in the hell I want to run in the Southwest. Let's look at Northern California real quick. Why I'm tired of running in the Northeast. Yeah, there's nothing coming out of Northern California right now. And talk about the fuel card. Talk about my new internet. Why do I have new internet? So let's look at a popular market. I don't know, Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta and Chicago are probably the two big markets to look at. So we'll look at Atlanta for a minute while I talk, and then I'll switch it over to Chicago for a minute. This is every load within 250 miles of Atlanta that's over $2,000. Look at these cheap bastards going all the way down to Miami Beach, paying $3 a mile, $3.50 a mile. Cheap load. I wouldn't haul a load to Miami at $5 a mile. It'd probably have to be $7 a mile for me to even consider it. That is just way too deep into Florida. The rates right now are not that good. They're mediocre at the moment. But that's after a holiday. I expected that after Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving kind of kicks off the holiday shopping. I thought that the week after Thanksgiving would be different than other weeks after holidays, but it hasn't been. It's been really slow. Rates have dropped, and it usually takes like the week after a holiday usually sucks, but the week after that it usually gets back to normal. So next week loads will probably be really good. But anyway, why in the hell am I burnt out on the Northeast? Well, basically ever since I've been back in trucking, I have been running in the East and Northeast. Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio, North Carolina. Like that's all the loads I've been taking out of the house. I've been going into those areas. And I'm just kind of sick and tired of it. What the straw for me that kind of like made it to where I was just like, I don't care if I'm going to, make less money. I'm just going to stop running in the East and the Northeast for a while. What pushed me to that decision was the accident that I got in. That day that I got into that accident, there were like 3 or 4 people or more. I can't remember exactly how many people that did the exact same thing to me. One of them ended up hitting me. What it is over there in basically the area of Virginia, it put my signal on to change lanes to the left lane because there would be merging traffic coming on, or because I needed to pass somebody, whatever reason, I needed to move lanes. I would put my left turn signal on. I would wait 2 to 3 seconds, and then I would start making the lane change. Well, as soon as I would start making the lane change, I would get about a foot into the lane. The cars behind me would speed up and try to pass me before I completed the lane change. I had 3 or 4 people do that to me. One of them was so aggressive that he took off trying to pass me when my trailer was halfway into the lane. When your trailer is halfway in the lane, then your tractor is about 3/4 of the way into the lane, because it follows, it tracks off. There's an off track on it. So my trailer was about halfway in the lane. My tractor was almost completely in the lane, and this dumbass in the SUV went and tried to go around me. He was pissed off that I pulled in front of him. He was already in the left lane. He was mad that I went over in front of him. So he accelerated and tried to pass me on the shoulder. And then when he made it halfway down my trailer, he realized how narrow the shoulder was, and that there were bridges and guardrails and other things that made the shoulder even more narrow. and he slammed on his brakes and freaked out. And when he did that, he clipped the side of my trailer. I had 3 or 4 people do that to me that day. He's the only dumbass that hit me, but I'm burnt out on it. I'm tired. I just don't want to deal with that right now. I've been driving up dealing with that kind of stuff and people doing stupid stuff. Like, you can minimize risk so much. There's only so much you can minimize risk. You can never completely get rid of it. There are a lot of stupid people on the road doing stupid things all day, every day. And the more times you encounter stupid people, the higher your chance is that you're going to hit one of them, that you're going to come into contact with one of them. So I don't want to ruin my chance of getting on with Landstar. And I'm burnt out on it. I'm frustrated with the driving in the East and the Northeast. So for my remainder at USA Truck, I'm going to try to stay down in the Southwest, even though I'm not going to make as much money. And I'm probably not going to be able to take as much home time, because whenever I go out and I make $6,000 or $7,000 in a week, then I can take a month off if I want to. But if I'm only making $2,000 or $3,000 in a week, then I can't afford to take that much time off. So I may not be able to take as much time off, and other things. But hopefully it's going to be a lot less stressful, more casual driving. And it's going to be a better quality of life. And I'm just going to be able to stick it out at USA Truck until I get on with Landstar. And then once I get on with Landstar, they have freight all over the country. I shouldn't have issues running between, Oklahoma City and Southern California. I should be able to do that easily on Landstar's load board. That should not be an issue at all. The reason it's difficult to do it on USA Truck's load, it's difficult to do anything on USA Truck's load board. The freight is so sporadic on their load board. You just have to kind of take whatever in the hell's there. You can't run where you want to run easily on USA Truck's load board because of how sporadic the freight is. Let's switch this over to Chicago. But so that's the reason that, oh man, a lot more loads here. I was about to say this is a pretty decent load until I saw it's going to Maryland. Oh, Fort Worth. Is this a Chewy load? No, ConAgra. 42,000 pounds. I mean, there's a lot of okay loads on here, but nothing really that great. And who's the asshole putting this crap up? $2,200 to go to Laredo? 1,550 miles, paying $2,200 to go down to Laredo, Texas, and deal with the crap of Laredo, Texas. It can be a pain in the butt to find a load down around Laredo, and you also have to pay like $100 of your load to have somebody haul it across the border for you. So these cross-border loads going into Mexico, shave $100 off that. All loads, with the exception of containers, have to be secured with load locks or straps. So this is chemicals. It just ticks me off whenever they list loads that cheap. Now, before I talk about my internet and my new fuel card, I'm going to rant and rave about brokers real quick. Over here in Northern California, the Tracy loads, there was a broker that listed 2 loads going to Lakeland, Florida from Stockton, California. If I remember correctly. It was Northern California. I'm not 100% it was Stockton, but it was going to Lakeland, Florida. It's like 2,800 miles or something like that. $4,200. For anybody who's not familiar with loads and lanes and markets and stuff like that, California, the entire damn state of California, is a premium market. So loads coming out of California pay really well. Loads going into California don't pay very well. So if you're taking a load into a really good market, that load typically doesn't pay very well. If you're taking a load out of a really good or a premium market, then that load does pay well. If you're taking a load into a really bad market, like Florida, it's the worst market in the country that I know of, maybe Alaska or Hawaii, but I don't know of many truck drivers that go to Alaska or Hawaii. Maybe there's some kind of boat that you can go to Hawaii on. But Florida is like the worst in the continental U.S. It's the worst freight market that I know of. Because there's just so much disparity. It's a huge consumption state. There's a lot of people there that consume. There's not a lot of things made in Florida. So there's a ton of loads going into Florida, which means that there's a lot of drivers in Florida looking for loads, and there's almost nothing coming out of Florida. So it's a damn quagmire. It's as bad as, the Northeast. So it's the same situation as the Northeast. In the Northeast, it's a huge consumption area. There's a ton of freight going into the Northeast, so they pay a premium to get crap in there. But once you get there, you can't find loads coming out, and if you do, they pay almost nothing. Because there's so many people looking for loads, they can move the loads and pay nothing on them. So anyway, going into a bad area usually pays a premium. You get paid extra to go into a bad area, like the Northeast or Florida. And then coming out of a good area typically pays a premium. So this load going from Northern California to Florida, you're coming out of a premium market and going into a bad market. So you should be getting like increased rates on both sides of this load. So this load should be amazing to go to Florida. To go from California to Florida should pay amazing. And some jackass broker has this 2,800 mile load listed for $4,200. Like $1.50 a mile. Some just bull crap rate. I mean, it's just laughable. It pisses me off to see loads listed that cheap. It sat on the load board for like a day or two. The broker pulled both loads off, relisted them at $8,400. That broker did not call and renegotiate the rate with the shipper. That broker had that much money in the load. That broker is probably getting paid $10,000 or $12,000 to move that load. And they tried to move it at $4,000. They're trying to make $6,000, $8,000 off the load. That's what the broker is trying to do. Is what I term it as the brokers that are trying to get rich off of a single load. I hate brokers like that. Even at $8,400, that was a pretty crap load. It wasn't paying well enough to go to Florida. But both of those loads ended up getting moved. They disappeared off the load board within a few hours after the broker relisted them at $8,400. So somebody decided that was enough money to get them to move the loads. Me personally, I don't think it was enough money to move the loads, but for somebody else it was. There was another load that idiot that took those Florida loads could have taken going to Jersey down in the LA market. If you'd have just driven like 500 miles south into LA, then there was a load going to New Jersey that was like 2,700 miles, and it was paying $11,600. Like, why would you go $8,400 to Florida versus, $11,600 to go to Jersey? It's the same distance. You're going. Jersey isn't as bad of a market as Florida. Like, I don't understand people. That comes. That mainly what that rant was about brokers, and like why I hate brokers, why I despise brokers, because they're unnecessary middlemen that take too big of a cut out of, like, they're just like skimming off the top on all these loads, and they're taking way too much money for what they do. Brokers should be replaced by technology. They shouldn't exist. They don't belong anymore. It's like having a call operator. Call operators don't exist anymore. They got replaced with technology. Stockbrokers, you don't have a broker anymore You just go into an application, whatever, and you just buy stocks. You don't have some asshole taking a percentage of your money anymore. You just pay a much reduced cost than what you used to have to pay for stocks. Middlemen have been, in almost every industry, middlemen have been squeezed out by technology. They've been replaced by technology. But for some damn reason, brokers still exist in trucking. And what I was going to say on that, what it reminded me of is don't be afraid to deadhead. Crunch the numbers on it. It's usually a lot more profitable to deadhead 500-600 miles to pick up a good load rather than just grab whatever crap is really close to you. Don't take a load just because it's really close to you. Crunch the numbers on it on how much you're going to make per day versus taking that load versus like deadheading a day and grabbing a much better load. It's almost always better to deadhead if there's nothing but junk loads close to you. So anyway, that's my rant about brokers and my thoughts on deadheading. Let's go back over to the Chicago market. I'm not going to bother refreshing these pages because it's 5:30 in the morning and they're not going to be listing new loads on here. I am on the lookout for a load coming out of the Los Angeles market, so I'm going to keep looking for that. Let's talk real quick about my new internet and my my new fuel card. My new internet. So I have a router in my truck that is like your normal router that you have at your house. You can plug network cables into it, and it has Wi-Fi. Well, what this router has that most home routers don't have is it has a little slot in it where you can put a SIM card for like cell phones. So I get a cell phone plan and I plug that SIM card into my router in the truck and it connects to cell towers and it supplies internet to my entire truck. I've been using a Verizon $65 a month prepaid plan with unlimited data. It's really slow data. It's 2 megabit per second. Occasionally it's not throttled and I get decent speeds, but 90% of the time it's 2 megabit or lower, which means it's really, really slow. It has really high latency. For anybody that's a gamer, whatever they use to throttle causes it to also have really bad latency. I've used my AT&T phone. I've used that service, which is not throttled, until I go over 22 gigabytes. And my latency is really low with that. I have good latency with that. But on the Verizon, when it's throttled, my latency is terrible. But anyway, Verizon sent me a nasty email and said that they detected that I was using the phone with, or I was using the service with something other than a smartphone. And in their contract, it says you can only use the service with a smartphone. They detected I was using it with a router. So they said if I keep using it with that router, that they're going to turn my service off. They haven't turned the service off. They just threatened. So I said, you know what? I don't want to deal with this. I've been meaning to get better internet in the truck because the internet that I have is just so slow. And for a little bit more per month, I can get much better internet. So I went ahead and because of that email, I got better internet. It's $100 a month. There was like a $50 setup fee on top of that. And it is high priority data, so it's not throttled ever. And I think it's with AT&T. I can't remember, but I got it through a reseller. And it's the data limit per month is 400 gigabytes per month, which should be more than enough because even at my house, I only use like 500 or 600 gigabytes per month at my house. And my computers, and I have tons of stuff in my house always using data. So in the truck, I shouldn't use anywhere near that. I should, 200 gigs a month is probably more than enough for me in the truck. But yeah, that's my new internet. And then my new fuel card is a new Comdata card that I got for a National Tire Discount Program. That's the main reason I got it. And after looking at the tire discounts, I'm not even sure it was worth it for that, because it's like $50 off per tire. Yeah, if I replace all my tires, it'll be worth it, because that's 10 tires times $50, so that'd be $500 in savings, and the card cost $5 a month. I don't know, but it is a fuel card. I got it strictly for the tire discount, but it is a fuel card, and it's managed by Schneider. So let's go over my fuel cards real quick. So the USA Truck Comdata card that I get through them is unlimited credit, as far as I know. There's no limit on the amount of fuel you can get per week. It's 15 cents per gallon off the cash price at all the majors. So cash price is about a 5 to 6 cent per gallon discount. At TA and Petro, it's a 6 cent per gallon discount. At Love's, I think it's 5 cent. Flying J and Pilot, I think it might be 6 cents as well. So it's like a 20 to 21 cent per gallon discount off of the credit price at all the majors. The card that I use the most, my main fuel card, is a WEX card on the Jacobson network that is managed by XPO Logistics, and it gives me discounts at a lot of places, but mainly TA and Petro, and it's a variable rate, so I get an email every day that tells me what the discounts are at all the various places. And what I average is probably about 40 cents per gallon off of the credit price. So it's better than pretty much everything else. Some places I'll get it at 60 or 70 cents a gallon off. Some I have no discount at all. But what I average when I fuel up is about 40 cents a gallon off. The new card, and it's that card's a $2,500 credit limit. The new card that I just got, the Comdata WEX card. No, it's not WEX. It's Comdata. It's a Comdata fuel card, Fleet Plus fuel card or whatever, and it's on the Schneider fuel program. So Schneider manages the fuel program. It's $5 a month. It's the only card that the way that I pay for the XPO Logistics is they charge me $1.25 per transaction. The Comdata card is $5 per month. So the new Comdata card is $2,600 credit limit, and it's a flat rate discount at TAs and Petros. 25 cents per gallon off the cash price. So 31 cent per gallon flat rate discount. It's pretty damn good. Not as good as my normal fuel card, but I might actually use this fuel card on occasion. Now, there are a couple of exceptions. They have a list right here of places where you do not get the discount. You get, less than the 25 cents per gallon off. And it's just a few places that you have to be aware of. And then they have some other stuff, like you get $15 off of a tractor preventative maintenance, $5 off of a trailer PM, $5 off of a DOT inspection. And this is at TA and Petro. All of this is at TA and Petro. You get discounts up to $65 off the retail price for basically all the name brand tires. And you get $15 off roadside calls from TA and Petro. So, yeah. I mean, there's like all this stuff right here is just extra. I got the card strictly for the National Tire Discount Program, where you can get up to 65% off of tires, Goodyear and Bridgestone. But the tires that I was looking at buying are like very little discount. They were like 13% discount. So, not very good. Schneider Carrier Purchasing Program. Schneider is really big in like lease operator, like owner operator stuff. I've heard that you should go to Schneider to buy your truck. You should go to Schneider for all kinds of stuff. Even if you don't lease onto Schneider, you can still use their carrier purchasing program to buy a truck. And I've heard that it's a really good program. I don't know how true that is, but I've heard good things about them. But that's my fuel card. I spent a lot of time getting that thing set up. For anybody who doesn't mess with fuel cards and all the rest of the stuff with being an owner operator, whenever you get one of these fuel cards, you have an account that you log into, and you go in there and you have to go into the maintenance on the cards, and you program in all of the numbers. Like, you program in what it asks you at the pump, you program in all your IDs and everything. It's not like whenever I got hired on at USA Truck and they just handed me the Comdata card and you're good to go. Whenever you start getting your own fuel cards, there's a whole bunch of extra crap you have to do. Like, to get this card, I had to send them copies of my lease contracts. They had to verify with USA Truck that I was leased to them. That took like 2 months. And then Schneider contacted me, and I had to sign a bunch of paperwork with Schneider. There's just like tons and tons of paperwork with getting a fuel card. But anyway, what else is going on here? So it's December 2nd at 5:30 in the morning. I'm on the sleep schedule that I want to be on right now, which is basically waking up at about 2 or 3 a.m. And so it's Wednesday morning? Let me see. Yeah, 5:30 a.m. Wednesday morning. I plan on leaving my house at about 2 to 3 a.m. Friday morning to get to my pickup at about 8 or 9 a.m. I'm probably going to get there about 9 a.m. My appointment's at 2 p.m. in Springfield, Missouri. And I'm going to get there early, see if they'll load me early. If not, then I'll just give them my phone number. They can call me whenever they're ready for me. And I'll go to bed, take a nap. I have so much time on this load that I basically have 2 extra days on the load. So I can either just hurry up and get there and take 2 days off, or I can just slowly drive there. Now, since it is, it's going to be approximately 1,500 miles for me to get there. And it's going to use up a decent chunk of my hours to get there. What I'm most likely going to do is I'm going to try to get there as quickly as possible so that I can take a 34 and have all of my hours available to grab a load out of LA. Because I don't want to be running against my clock. I don't want to get there and there's some amazing load and I've just ruined my clock and used like a ton of hours, and now I can't get that load because I have to run it real hard across country, and it would be a 4,000 mile week or something like that, and I wouldn't be able to legally do it. So I want to make sure that I'm in a position where I can do anything. And I might swing by and hang out with Percy while I'm over there. There's a load that is fairly consistently put on. Let me find it here. Coming out of the LA area, Redlands, California, going to St. George, Utah. It usually pays about $3,000, $3,100, $3,200. It's a little cheap right now, but it's 350 miles. It goes from Redlands to St. George. For anybody who doesn't know, that goes straight through Vegas. St. George, Utah is right here. It's in the very southwest corner of Utah. So you just drive up I-15, drive through Vegas, go to St. George. My buddy Percy lives in Vegas, so once I make the delivery in St. George, I can turn around and come back, stop in Vegas, and hang out with Percy while I wait on a load. Um, I might do that. I don't know. If there aren't any really good big loads headed back east, then I'll probably take that St. George, Utah load just to have something while I'm waiting, and I'll probably hang out with Percy while I'm doing it. Just a second. All right, I'm back. That's kind of funny because Percy lives in Vegas. My buddy Blake lived in Vegas, and as far as stopping and visiting with friends, Vegas is the only place that I've ever stopped at to hang out with a buddy. So, I don't know. Percy, I talked with him earlier today. Percy got into trucking when I did back in 2003, 2004. We met in CDL school. And he stayed in trucking for like 13 years. And he just retired like 3 years ago from trucking. And now he wants to get back into trucking because whenever he was in trucking, he was a company driver the entire time. And in all honesty, he just made crap money his entire career. He just made really bad money. He was a hard runner. Like, he ran his ass off. He worked his ass off. But he just didn't make anything because he was a company driver. And he mainly just worked for megas his entire career. And he never made much of any money. And he's been hearing about how much money I've been making as an owner-operator, and he wants to come back out and become an owner-operator this time. So he's been, getting his stuff together to where he can get back out on the road and get out of the retired life. And he said he's got everything's taken care of right now. He could start orientation tomorrow with the trucking company if he wanted to. But he's just procrastinating on it. He had a really bad experience with trucking. Like, he hates trucking so much. He despises trucking. But he never had much of any amenities in the truck. He never really made much money. And he worked for a lot of really crappy carriers, mega carriers, that just ran him to death and treated him like crap for the most part. And I think he just had a bad experience with trucking because of that. And unfortunately, that's most people's experience in trucking, is they just work for mega carriers, and mega carriers just abuse the hell out of people. But hopefully when he comes back into trucking this time, he actually makes a decent amount of money. Now, he was planning on getting on with Knight. He's driven for Knight before, and he said that Knight was one of the best companies he drove for last time he was a driver, which goes to show you how bad of companies he drove for. If Knight was one of the best companies he drove for, Knight is a terrible, terrible company to drive for. And I talked him out of going to Knight, and he said, well, if I'm not going to go to Knight, then what about Crete? Just a second, let me blow my nose. Sorry. And I said, well, Crete is a lot better choice than Knight. And I said, just look at it from a pay perspective alone. Knight has a variable rate pay system where you make 38 cents a mile if it's over like 400 miles or something like that. But you can make up to like 46 cents a mile if it's a really short run, like it's 50 miles or something like that. That is crap pay. That is absolutely miserable, terrible pay. That's horrible. And I said, in comparison to that, at Crete, they just have flat rate pay, and it depends on, factors like experience and what division you're in and stuff like that. But what the starting pay at Crete is 53 to 59 cents per mile. I said, just think about it. Like, that's a huge difference. So just pay wise, Crete is way better than Knight, just in regard to pay. But I said, aside from all that, I've heard a lot of good things about Crete. I know of several people that work for Crete, and they really love it. And Crete is one of the companies that has a reputation for actually having long haul runs, which is kind of rare in the industry now. Most companies these days are averaging, like the average length of haul is like 400 or 500 miles. Crete is averaging like 12 or 1300 miles average length of haul. So they're one of the few long haul mega carriers that are left. So, and it's a lot more profitable. It's a lot less stressful. It's a lot better for drivers to have longer runs, especially when they're being paid by the mile, because drivers aren't paid for loading and unloading. And that takes up a lot of your time if you're doing these short little 400 or 500 mile runs, and you're getting paid by the mile. You don't get paid for all that loading and unloading that you're doing on those short runs. So there is a Crete terminal in Phoenix, Arizona, which is not too terribly far from Vegas. So he might be able to get on in with Crete, and maybe they'll fly him or get him a rental car down to Phoenix. And I'm looking forward to him getting back into trucking. I think it'd be really awesome to have him back out on the road. But he doesn't seem too very enthusiastic about doing it. He's mainly doing it because he said that he needs the money. The retired life doesn't pay well. But I'm excited. Like there's several things that I'm excited about right now. I'm like really excited about Percy getting back into trucking. I'm also excited about getting on with Landstar, which let's talk about getting on with Landstar real quick. Landstar is only a couple of months away. The only thing holding me back from getting on with Landstar is 1 year of recent verifiable experience. My experience from 15 years ago doesn't mean anything anymore. So I just got back into the industry in January of this year of 2020. I got my CDL like the first week of February, and I started orientation like 2 days or 3 days after I got my CDLs when I started orientation with USA Truck. So I started with USA Truck on like February the 9th. So that's when I hit my 1 year of experience. I'm not sure when exactly USA Truck started my clock on my 1 year of experience. I might have to wait until February 19th, because even though I started orientation on the 9th, I didn't get placed into a trainer truck until February 19th because they didn't have any non-smokers available. I had to sit around and wait for a week and a half for a non-smoker trainer. But anyway, I should be able to start the application process at the beginning of February. Sometime in mid-January or mid to early January is when I'm going to contact Landstar, a recruiter, and ask them, when should I put in an application? Because what I don't want to do is put in an application and mark off that, yes, I have the 1 year of experience and, fill everything out. And then they come back and tell me, you don't have 1 year of experience. You're rejected. You can apply again in 6 months. I don't want to get flagged by them and not be able to apply again for 6 months to a year or something like that. So I want to do everything the right way. So I'm going to call a recruiter before I put in an app. And so we're only 2 months away from me putting in an app at Landstar. And for that remaining 2 months here in the winter, I'm going to be avoiding the north area. And I'm going to be trying to drive in just the Southwest for these last couple of months that I have with USA Truck. It's not going to be easy to just drive in the Southwest, but that's what I'm going to try to do. And I've got all day today and all day tomorrow to get the truck ready to head out. I don't have a whole lot of things to do. I'm always going to have to do laundry at the last minute to wash the clothes that I'm wearing right now. But all of my laundry is done. I've already put all of my bedding material back into the truck. Most of the things that I have to do to leave, I can't do them right now. I have to wait till the last minute to do them, like putting all my food in the truck and stuff like that. All my refrigerators in the truck are turned off. I'm not going to turn those on until Friday, basically. What I'll probably do is Thursday, before I go to bed, I'll go out there and I'll turn all of the refrigerators and everything on. I'll put in all of my food, and I will get the truck as packed up as I possibly can with everything. And then when I wake up Friday morning at like 2 or 3 a.m., all I'll have to do is take a shower, grab, a couple of bags, get in the truck and go. So I will have the truck prepped and ready to go Thursday afternoon sometime before I go to bed. And then Friday morning, like 2 a.m., I'll take off. Also, I'm bobtail right now. I don't have a trailer. So I'm going to hit up the driver managers on Thursday and figure out what I'm going to do about grabbing an empty. I'm expecting that I'm going to grab an empty as I'm driving through Tulsa. I'll probably go to, there's a trailer repair place right off the interstate in Tulsa that I picked up empties from before. And I will probably end up getting an empty from there like I did last time. I don't know, though. I might get one from Kimberly Clark. Who knows where I'm going to get an empty from. But I'll talk with them and get that figured out on Thursday. It's pointless to call them like today and talk with them about it, because they're going to tell me that if I'm not going to pick the empty up for 2 days, then call them back in 2 days. They're not going to schedule an empty for me 2 days out. I've been to this rodeo before, so. But hopefully there's no drama with an empty to where they try to cancel the load on me or something like that. Because I've had this happen many, many, many times. It's one of the reasons I don't like going home bobtail, is because there's usually a lot of drama leaving the house and getting an empty. And I've had a lot of loads cancel on me because they couldn't find me an empty to leave the house on. So, really sucks. What we got going on here? We're looking for loads coming out of Southern California. So this Kansas City load, man, hopefully that thing doesn't get covered again and it gets relisted, because that New Jersey load that was like $11,600, and then this Kansas City load that's $7,000. Neither one of those loads got covered. They were both on the load board last week. They were both supposed to pick up on Monday, and they both sat on the load board up until their pickup appointment, and then they disappeared off the load board after their pickup appointments. So I'm pretty sure neither one of them got covered. The Kansas City load has been relisted on the load board. That New Jersey load has not been relisted. And man, if like that New Jersey load would be very, very tempting. I would be tempted, even though I don't want to go into the Northeast. A New Jersey load, like 90% of the run to New Jersey would be really, really nice and easy. Because, let's see here, let's look at this. Redlands, California to Owensboro. I think it was Owensboro. Is it not Owensboro? Swedesboro. I actually would probably not take this exact route. So instead of going up 44 right here, I would probably stay down on 40 and take 81 up. Because staying further south would allow me to stay out of weather. More mountains. You'll be driving through more mountains going this way. I don't know. I would have to make an executive decision on on what to do on the route here, but like the majority of this route is such an easy drive. Yep. This is just, and Swedesboro is way down in South Jersey. It's nowhere near New York City. It's way down in South Jersey. So I would probably take that load. Even though I don't want to go up in the Northeast, I don't want to deal with that crap, I would probably take that New Jersey load. But I would probably take I-40 and I-81 instead of going up 70 across Indiana and Ohio. Not sure. Not 100% sure. But I think I would probably take 40 and 81. And then right here in Carlisle, Pennsylvania is where I would intersect with 76. And then I would take 76 over. Hell, I might just take 81 right here to 70, drop down into Baltimore, take the bypass around Baltimore, and then take 95, and then the 295 to Swedesboro. Who knows? Who knows what I would do? And then I would just try to find a way to get back over to Southern California. Um, So yeah, I kind of hope that that New Jersey load is not reposted because it would be very, very tempting. That load pays 80. Let me look at the spreadsheet again. $8,325 is what I would make on that load. That's full amount. You know, fuel would come out of that and stuff like that. But man, an $8,300 a week, that would be amazing. And that's only. Let's switch over to the spreadsheet here. This is the Swedesboro, New Jersey load. It's only like a 4-day run. Yeah, it's 4 days. Just a second. All right, I'm back. So yeah, it's only 4 days. So you'd have an $8,300 week after just 4 days. You'd still have 3 more days that you could make some more money. So you could have like a $10,000 a week on that load. That'd be pretty sweet. That would be very, very tempting. Because as much as I don't like the Northeast, I could go take that load up there and I could grab some cheap load to get me out of the Northeast, and I could basically just go back to my house and take a month off after making that much money in a single damn week. I don't know. That'd be very tempting. And if I remember correctly, this load was not very heavy. It was like 18,000 pounds. So even if I went the mountain route on I-40 and 81, it wouldn't be that bad. But we'll see if it gets relisted. If it gets relisted, I would be very, very tempted to pull the trigger on hauling that load. An $11,600 load would just be too tempting. I don't know. If I had to choose between the Kansas City load, this Kansas City load right here, and then that New Jersey load, man, I don't know what I'd do. I would be very, very tempted to grab that New Jersey load. Very tempted. But anyway, I can't think of any other things that I need to do in preparation of leaving the house. I kind of need to figure out the food situation. I have a bunch of food that I bought because I was expecting I was going to be home this entire week and I wasn't going to leave the house until next week. and that's not going to happen. So I have a bunch of food, but I also need to figure out food for putting in the truck. So I think some of the food that I had planned on eating at the house, I'm going to try to figure out a way to use it in the truck. Like eggs don't really keep well. So I don't know, like, would I just scramble up like a whole bunch of eggs? And then I guess I could do that. I bought a bunch of little containers. Most of my Tupperware containers are massive, but I bought a bunch of smaller Tupperware containers so I can have more diversity of food on the truck. So maybe I will like scramble up a bunch of eggs and put in one of those containers and have some eggs that I could heat up on the truck because I bought a bunch of eggs. And I bought a bunch of pork chops. I could, cook up a bunch of pork chops and have them on the truck. And I think I might do Hamburger Helper because I just kind of always do Hamburger Helper. I love dirty rice, but the dirty rice just doesn't keep very well in containers. It's one of those things that you kind of need to eat pretty quick. It doesn't really like eating dirty rice after it's been sitting for a week. It just turns into one solid mass. Rice, whenever it sets for a long period of time, it just turns into one big chunk. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But that's what's going on right now. Is all I have. The only load I have on me is the load going from Springfield, Missouri to Phoenix, Arizona, delivering it to Little Caesars. And then from Little Caesars, I'm going to drive over to Southern California. Now, what I plan on doing when I get to Southern California is Coachella. Where's Coachella? Right here is Coachella. There's a TA here in Coachella. Right here. There's a TA right here in Coachella. And it's pretty close to the Fontana, San Bernardino area. And I plan on hanging out there at the TA in Coachella until I find a load. And then I will drive in and pick that load up. The reason I'm going to do that is because the TA Petro in the Fontana area is in Ontario and it's paid parking. It's $20 a day. It's one of those places that you drive in and you get a ticket whenever you come in, and then when you leave, you give them the ticket, and they charge you $20 for every 24-hour period you're there. If you're there for 24 hours and 1 minute, they will charge you for 2 damn days. I had them do that to me. But if you go in and you spend $20 in the store, then that counts as a day of parking. If you show them the receipt that you spent $20 in there. If you buy over like 60 gallons of fuel, that counts for a day. So if you fuel up and if you spend $20 in there, then you can park for a couple of days. But there's a possibility that I might be sitting for 3 or 4 or 5 days waiting on a load. And I don't want to do that in a place that's charging $20, $30 a day for parking. I can't remember exactly how much they charge per day. I want to say it was like $25 a day to park. So I'm going to hang out in Coachella until I get a load. And then I will drive in and pick up that load. Now, there was another USA truck driver. It might be a power only. I have no idea. There was another load that was picking up in Springfield, Missouri and delivering to Phoenix, Arizona. It's technically Tolleson, Arizona. It was delivering a couple of miles away from where I'm delivering. And it was picking up the same place, delivering to almost the same place. And it picked up, it had the same pickup appointment. And the delivery was almost the same. So somebody else got a near identical load to me going to Phoenix. So there's going to be another USA truck driver heading over into the Phoenix area with me. I don't know who it is, but you better stay off my LA loads, damn it. I don't know. Maybe that other driver will grab that New Jersey load, and then I won't be tempted to take it. I won't have to worry about that temptation. I'll just be able to grab that Kansas City load. I don't know. We'll see. I need to put together a list of things that I need to do before I leave. Honestly, I can't think of much of anything else I need to do. Um, yeah, my big thing is food for the truck. And in all honesty, if I just didn't put any damn food in the truck, if I didn't make any food, I just live out of truck stops. I don't want to do that, but I could if I had to. It's like a luxury thing for me to cook food and take it with me on the truck because truck stop food is real hit or miss. Some truck stop food's awesome. The Flying J chicken, oh my god, I love Flying J chicken. Most of the time, sometimes you get it and it's been sitting out for a long time and it's like dry and rubbery and it's nasty, but you get it even remotely close to fresh, and man, Flying J chicken is awesome. Even some of those little Godfather's pizzas or whatever they have in the truck stop, some of those are pretty awesome if you get it some fresh. That's probably the biggest thing about truck stop food is freshness, because a lot of the truck stop food will set out for several hours, and food that sets out for several hours dries out and just gets nasty, and it really sucks to eat that kind of stuff, especially at the prices they charge for it. They're charging you like $15 for a couple of slices of pizza, and you get it and you're just like, ugh, you end up throwing it away. Huge waste of money. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out what food I'm gonna take for the truck, because I might do a grocery delivery today, and I don't know. That's the last thing I need to figure out. But I guess that's it for this video. I'll start making videos like crazy again once I get back in the truck, which will be Friday morning, like early Friday morning, probably around 2 or 3 a.m. is when I'm going to get into the truck and take off. And we'll drive up to Springfield, Missouri, to McCormick, French's Logistics or whatever, and get our load going to Phoenix, Arizona. And hopefully I don't have to deal with much weather. There is a snowstorm that's supposed to be coming in Thursday into this area, so I might actually be dealing with some snow driving up to Springfield, Missouri. We'll see. We'll see. And if I am going to start dealing with bad weather, then that's going to dictate, like, it'll have an impact on when I drive, because I don't like to drive at night when there's snow and ice, because snow and ice accumulation is usually a lot worse at night. During the day, whenever you have direct sunlight on the road, it tends to melt the snow and ice off. But without direct sunlight at night, you get more snow and ice buildup. So when there's snow and ice, I typically am a daytime driver. I don't like driving at night in snow and ice. So we'll have to just see what's going to be going on with it. And yeah, that's about it. What I've been doing the last couple weeks has been playing World of Warcraft and watching Stargate SG-1. This is probably like the 10th time I've watched the entire series of Stargate SG-1. And I'm halfway through season 7 right now. So I'll keep watching that. I think it's 10 seasons. So, and then they have like 3 movies after that. So we'll see how it goes. I'll keep watching those and get those knocked out. But yeah, I need to get a list together of things I need to wrap up before I leave the house. And I think that's all I got for this video. So I'll start making videos again on Friday. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.